This is a demonstration on how to get questions into the question library. If you're using a test bank, a lot of times the test bank software will have a save as or an export feature that will allow you to export the test into a zip file. And those files can be imported into D2L using your edit course. So if I go to edit course and I go to import export copy, you would actually import and then browse for the zip file that was saved from your test bank software. In my experience, this can do two things. Sometimes it'll bring the test questions in and create a quiz right in D2L. And sometimes it'll bring the questions into a question library folder. And it often depends on how you're able to save that zip file. If you can save it as a D2L format, it usually comes in as a quiz. If you have to save it as a Blackboard format, it usually brings it into the question library. So either way, we'll go forward from there. So I'll go over to the quizzes area, and if you bring in questions and you've got maybe from a test bank and it creates the quiz, or maybe you've just got a quiz in here that you've used for a couple of semesters and now you want to randomize the quiz, you can do that by having the quiz questions already created in your quiz area, and then we'll move them to the question library. So I'll go to the question library and I'll show you what I mean. So far there's nothing here, and what I need to do first of all is create a section. I'm creating a folder to place the questions into. Now if you brought in a zip file, it may have created a folder in their question library with your questions already, and so you wouldn't have to do this step. But let's create a new section, and I'm going to call this practice quiz because I'm going to bring in the questions from my practice quiz. So I just give it a section name, and that's really all you need here, and save it. See how it created a folder? So now I need to put the questions in here. So I'll click on the folder, Practice Quiz, and I need to import questions. I'm going to import from an existing collection because those are already over in my quiz area. And now I have to tell it where you want to pull the questions from. In this case, I want to pull them from my practice quiz. And which questions or which section do you want to import from? I'll choose collection root. That will bring up all my questions. Now I could pick and choose which questions I want to include. Most of the time you want to just bring in all questions, so click the top box. Make sure all the check marks are there and click Save. So what that did then is it took all the questions that were located in my quiz and brought them into this folder in the question library. So I'm going to say Done. And now I've got them actually located in two places. I've got them in my practice quiz here, and I've got them over in my question library. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this so that I realize which one it is, and I'll actually go here to restrictions and make this inactive because I don't want to use this one anymore, and then scroll down and save. Now I'll go down and cancel so you can see what I'm doing here. So I changed the title here and made it inactive because now I want to create a new quiz and randomize the questions. So I'll create a new quiz. Save. And go over to Layout Questions. Add Edit Questions. And now I want to create a random section. I'll give it a name and save. So now in my new quiz, my new practice quiz, I've created a folder, a section, a random folder, and now I need to put questions in here. So I'll click on the folder, and my only choice is to import. And the only place you can import from is the question library. And this is why we had to move the questions in the first place. So which section do I want to import from? Here's the one that I created in the section library, in the question library, sorry. Practice quiz. There those questions are. I want to bring all of them in and save. How many questions? Well, I want to use all of them, so I'm going to choose 5, and I'll click Save. And then I'll click Done. So here I am in my new practice quiz, and I've got my random section. It's going to choose 5 out of 5. So what this has done for me is students will still all receive the same test, but they're going to get their questions in a different order. Each time somebody chooses to attempt the quiz, it will give them their questions in a different order. And then I would choose Save. And then this is the one that I would activate. So I would go back into the quiz and go to Restrictions and make this one active. And save. So that's how you get questions into the question library. It's either by having a test bank that saved a zip file, and then you import the zip file. It may create the question library folder for you. Otherwise, you have to go in here and create a section and then import questions from your existing quiz into the section. So it seems, it's a little bit awkward. You have to move questions back and forth, but in order to do a random quiz, you have to have questions in the question library first.